Is everyone ready to start?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
So the Gemara on Mem Beis Amud Beis Parakamafket. Towards it's 12 lines from the bottom. Hahu Gavra. Okay. The Gemara starts off with a story that there was two people, Reuven and Shimon. Reuven had a bucket of hops. Hops is used for making beer. It's one of the three ingredients in making beer. There's water, barley, and hops. So this person had hops, and he gave it to his friend to safeguard as pikadon. Ahu gavra de afkik shusa gabe chavre. There was Reuven gave a bucket of hops to his friend Shimon, and to watch, to safeguard. Have leila de nami karya dikshusa. Shimon had Shimon as well. Shimon also had a bucket of hops in his house, because he was also a beer maker. Amar le l'sarse. So Shimon, the one who was watching, told his helper. And it was beer season, and he was making beer. So he pointed to his helper, and he said, "Mehai Rami, take from this bucket and use it for the beer." It was his own one. It was his own. It wasn't the one. It wasn't the pikadon. It wasn't the one that was supposed to be that he was watching. It was his own. Azal. So then the shliach, his helper, went Rama meidach. He went by mistake, by accident, and he took the pikadon, the one that belonged to Reuven, and he used it for making beer. Okay, so we're not sure what to do. Amar Rab Amram, says Rab Amram, Heichi nidainu daini lahai dina. How should we treat this case? Who's responsible for the pikadon, for the hops? Name a leila day. Should we tell Shimon to pay Zoshlem to go? Amar Shimon can say, "Ana Amrile mehai Rami." Shimon can say, really he's the balabayas. He says, I'm not here at fault. I'm not the one at fault, because I told my helper to take from mine. I showed him which one to take, and that one was mine, and he's at fault. So I'm not at fault. Okay, says the Gemara. Maybe we should say the helper is at fault. Name a leila sar say zoshlem. Maybe we should say the helper is at fault because he took the wrong ones. Amar, because he was told to take this one. He was told to take the balabayas Shimon's hops, and he took the other one. So Shimon says, Amar loy Amar li mehai rami o mehai leitermi. Shimon, I didn't get such clear instructions. I said just take from here. I didn't say take from here and not the other one. It's almost as if like he's been helping out for many years making beer, and he's been through his cellar many years, and whatever's convenient, whatever he needs, he takes. But like if you didn't want me to take something, so just tell me clearly, don't take that one. Okay, so who's at fault? So the Gemara is trying to figure out who's at fault. Says the Gemara, okay, now we can try to figure out a different way. So if the buckets were in two different places, and the shliach and the balabayas told his helper to go and take the hops from one place, and if the balabayas if Shimon could have figured it out by himself, that why was it taking so long? Like my hops are close, right, and the pikadon is far away. Right? It's deep down because in the cellar. If you eat a shashir lasuya levelay isilay, if it took so long for him to come back, right? So then he knew that something was going on, that he was taking the wrong one. Goliath daite, he's telling he's megaladas. He's telling we see from his mind. He's happy that the helper should take the pikadon, and therefore he's at fault. Because he somehow he knew, and he should have told. He should have run after him. Says the Gemara B'Laisha, no, there's no. They're both together, one next to each other, and there's no way he could have figured it out from the time elapsed that he was taking the wrong one. Okay, so therefore we're not sure right now. The Gemara's trying to figure out who's at fault. On one hand, the Balabai can say I'm not at fault because I was careful and I told him to take which ones to take. And the same thing, the helper can say, I'm not at fault because I wasn't told clearly not to take the pikadon. I didn't know it was not yours. Okay, says the Gemara. Gemara has a question. I don't understand why over here there's a machlekes. Why is there, what's the argument going on? Safe my pseida. What's v'haka mishtar shilei? He used his friend's hops and he had a gain. So just pay back that gain. There's no loss and gain over here. You can just pay him back very easily. Says the Gemara, Amar Psamar Brei Derava Dahavi Shechachala. Oh, what happened was the beer went bad, so there's no gain, and now it's just a loss. And the question is if he should pay back. Okay, the Gemara offers another answer. Rav Ashi Amar, the bottom line. Rav Ashi Amar Bekisi. Over here. The hops his friends gave him was kisi, was mixed with thorns, and it didn't make such good beer, and therefore the loss is greater than the gain, and therefore the question is who's responsible for the loss, because it didn't make such good beer and he has to pay back, but the loss is greater than the gain. Well, Mishalim laid, and the Gemara comes out the final psak. Well, Mishalim right before the Mishnah on the top of the Amud. Well, Mishalim laid to make kisi. He pays him. He has to pay him back to make kisi. Now the Gemara doesn't say who pays him back. It seems like the owner has to pay him back because he's paying back according to his gain. There's a concept. There's a ruling in Chayesha Mishpat that someone's mishtarshi. Someone has a gain, even though he's not responsible. But if he's gaining he's getting something from his friend, even though he's not responsible, but he has to pay back that gain. So whatever the minimal gain that he has to pay, even though he's not paying back the full amount, but whatever he gained, he has to pay back. Okay, that's the Gemara's psak. Final. Okay, new Mishnah. Mem Gimel Amud Aleph. Everyone has it. Hamafkin mais. Says the Mishnah. Hamafkin mais eitzel shochani. Okay, now the halacha is regarding somebody who hands his friend money to safeguard, and there's a difference between a shochani, a money changer, or a balabayas, a homeowner, a housekeeper. Hamavke might say shochani. Somebody gives money to a shochani, a money changer, who's dealing with money all the time. Money comes in, money comes out, different currencies, small coins, large coins. If the money is in the envelope, it's sealed. So the shochani, the money changer, has no right to use it. Okay, we're going to see in a second that if it's open, if the money is the envelope's open, if the envelope's open, then the shochani can assume that the mafkid, the one who gave him the money, permits him to use it, because we're going to see in a second. Because he has no right to use the money, so he's just a regular shomer chinam, and therefore he's not chayev, and he's not responsible. Mutarin. However, if the money was in an open envelope, yishtamish ben, he can safely assume the balabayas doesn't mind him to use the money and pay and give him different money, because he's dealing with money all the time. Balabayas is not makbid. He doesn't care if he gets back these bills and these coins. As long as you're shochani, I know you're shochani, you can use the money and pay me back different. You can use these coins and pay me back different ones. Okay, so therefore now he's different. Now he's like a shayel, or maybe even like a malva. We'll see, or maybe even like a leiva, like a borrower, who are responsible for einsim, for unexpected things against his will. Lefikach im avdu chayav b'char yusan. Because he has permission to use them, so he's like a shayel. Therefore, he's chayav. He's responsible for any eines, for anything which against his will happens. Okay, that's regarding a shochani. However, eitzel balabayas, if someone gives money to a housekeeper, which is really anybody, except for, we'll see in a second, a shopkeeper, anybody who's not a shochani, eitzel balabayas, bein shurin or bein mutarin lo yishtamish ben, whether or not they're sealed or whether they're open, he has no right to use them, because he doesn't deal with money, and therefore he can assume that he can use them. The fikach imavdu. Therefore, now he's like a shemer chinam. He's not using them. The fikach imavdu. Therefore, if they get lost, einay chayv b'char yusan. He's not responsible because he's a shemer chinam. Says the Mishnah, Chenveni. What about a Chenveni? Chenveni is a storekeeper, a shopkeeper. Chenveni kabal bais. He's the halacha like a bal bais. He can't use them. Did Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yehuda says no. Chenveni kashochani. Chenveni can, because he's dealing with money. He's not dealing with money as much as a shochani. However, he can. A chenveni can. A shopkeeper can use them like a shochani. Machlekes Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda. Okay, the Gemara. And the Gemara Mem Gimel Amud Aleph Mishum Detzrurin. Correct. The Gemara asks a question. We just said halacha that by a shochani, a money changer, he's so if he can use the money, but if it's sealed, he can't. So the Gemara asks Mishum Detzrurin La Yishtamish Behen. Like what's like money just because the envelope is sealed, he can't use them. Like where's like that's how people put money in an envelope and seal. Like where do you see that the Baal Bayis didn't want the Shochanei to use them because it's sealed? Says the Gemara, Amar Ravasi, Amar Yehuda, B'tzurim v'chasumen shanu. It's not just that it was sealed. It was sealed and it was in chasumen. It was tied together. It was tied and sealed. It was double. It was tied and with a seal. Rav Mari Amar B'kesher Mishuna. It's a unique type, a peculiar type of knot. Even though it was just a kesher, but because it would seem that the Baal Bayis wants to keep the money the way it is and doesn't want him to spend it. So you see, it's obvious from the way it was tied that he wants it to that he shouldn't use it. Ika Amri. There's a different version of Rav Mari. By Rav Mari. Rav Mari didn't say in the definite that a funny type of kesher that is usher. He can't use it. Kesher Mishuna Mai. He asked a question. He wasn't sure. He didn't say a definite way. He just asked the question about the Kesher Mishuna, and says the Gemara Teku. The Gemara leaves the question. According to this version, Rav Mari left the question as is. Okay. It says the Gemara right there. The Gemara continues on. Mutar nishtamish ben. We're going back to the Mishnah. When the money is open, it's not tied in the envelope. It's just open. So then the shochan, the money changer can use them. Okay, now the Gemara is going to go into a discussion. What's he responsible for? Amar Rav Huna v'afilu nensu. He is chayev in einus. Einus is like something that happened against his will, and he couldn't control. Says the Gemara v'avdu katani. What do you mean? The Mishnah doesn't say he's chayev einus. There's 3 levels. There's pshia, negligence, and aveda is getting lost, or einus, which is against he has no control. The Avdu Katani, the Mishnah only says he's chayiv in the 2nd level. Why are you telling me he's chayiv on the high level of einus? Says the Gemara K'der Rabba. Rabba says, well, even though it says Avdu, it can mean a type of einus. For example, the Amar Rabba, Nignevu Balista Mezuyin. When we say Gneva, we can refer to Gneva. It can be also Lista Mezuyin. Lista Mezuyin are armed robbers. Armed robbers come. When they come and steal something, it's an einus. You have no control. Avdu. When it says Avdu, it can mean Shetava Sri Nase Bayam. His ship got lost at sea. It drowned. It sunk at sea, and that's a type of aveda. So that's also einus. He has no control. Okay, so he's responsible for einsin. Rav Nachman Amar says Rav Nachman nensu loy. No, he's not responsible on einus. He's not. He is. Amar le Rav Nachman says Rav to Rav Nachman. Rav asked the question. According to you, that you say he's not responsible for einus. You don't regard him as a shayel, as a borrower, because the borrower is a shayel is chayiv in einus. So it must be you're saying he's not a shayel. He's not a shayel. Shemer sachar nami lahave. So why are you treating him like shemer sachar? Why are you saying he's chayiv in aveda?
What page are we on, Rabbi?
We're on page Mem Gimel 43, Amud Aleph. 43a.
Okay, and where on the page are we?
We are there's 2 dots.
Okay, Amarav.
Yeah, we're a couple of lines after that, where it says
first word on the line we're on.
4 lines after the 2 dots. Amar le Rav Rav Nachman.
Looking. 1, 2, 3, 4. Amar le I see Amalei Rava. I see the Rav Nachman.
Good, yeah.
Omer, there.
No. Amar le Rava. Amar le Rava, the end of that line.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah, everyone has the place? Okay.
I
Amar le Rava le Rav Nachman. Rava asked a question. The Lidach, according to you, that the Amris Nensulai, that he's not responsible on Inus, Amal le Havi Shayla Alayu. You see, that we must be that he's not a Shayla. Yishayla le Havi Shemer Sachar, Nami le Havi. Why are you treating him like a Shemer Sachar? If he's not a Shayla, he's not a Shemer Sachar, he's not getting paid. The Shochan, he's not getting paid to watch the money. Okay, here the Gemara says an interesting, it's very important halacha regarding Chesed Mishpat. It comes up a lot. Amar le Bahamai Dina Lacha. In this I agree to you. The Hayel B'nehana Mahana. Even though he's not getting paid, but he has a gain. Be'ahu anadi misrami le zvina de ispe ravcha zavam behu have alayu shemer sachar. Even though he's not getting paid, but because he can use the money, so that's considered like he has, like it's a gain. People spend a lot of money. People will spend a lot of money on interest to get a loan. So that's a very big gain for him. So even though he's not getting actually paid by the mafkid, by the one who gave him the money, but he has a gain from the money that he can use it, and that's enough to treat him like a shemer sachar. Okay, the Gemara continues on. Now we're going back to Rav Huna. Rav Huna said he's chayiv in Einus. Eisvei Rav Nachman le Rav Huna. Rav Nachman asked a question to Rav Huna. Hamafkid might say, so shochani, somebody gives money to a shochani to watch. Im tzururin hain, if they're tied, lo yishtamish b'hen, he cannot use them. Lefikach im haitzi le ma'al hagizbar. Okay, so here we're this brisa, maybe a Mishnah. I didn't have a chance to check it up. However, this brisa teaches us that we're talking about a gizbar. Gizbar is the one in charge of the money from Hekdesh, from the Beis HaMikdash, and it's his job to give out the money and make sure it doesn't get lost. Now he gave the money to a shochani. He didn't know. He thought it was his own money. Okay, so now if whoever uses the money, when you have a shegig, nobody knows if someone forgot the money was hektish. Well, the halacha is whoever takes out the money and spends it, no matter if he knew or unknown, it was known or unknown, he's the one who does. He's the one who is mi'ila. He's the one who has to pay back hektish and bring the carbon. So im tzurur hain, if they're tied, if they're tied together, lo yishtamish b'hen. The shochani has no right to use them. Lefikach im haitzi, if the shochani used them, lo mala gizbar, because the shochani is responsible. He's the one that he's the one that used that. That's ma'al b'hektish. He's the one that's responsible. The im mutarin, if they were mutter, they were open, they weren't tied together. Yishtamish b'hen, the shochani has a right to use them. Now, because he has a right to use them, so who's the one that's really taking it out of from the property of hektish? The gizbar, the one in charge, the gabbai, the one in charge. Because by giving it to the shochani, that itself is like, hey, from now on, here you can use them. Okay, so he's the one that the figach im haitzi ma'ala gizbar. Therefore, if the shochani use them, ma'ala gizbar. Now the Gemara asks that the amris afilu nansu. If you're going to tell me that even that the shochani is responsible in einzin, mar ir ya haitzi afilu haitzi nami. In order to be chayav in einzin, must be had to leave the rishus, the ownership of the one who gave the money, and enter the rishus, the possession of the person who's accepting the money, because that's the idea of einus, right? Now it's yours, and you have to give back no matter what happens. So if you're saying there's an einus, so why do we have to wait for the shochani, for the money changer to use the money to go out of hektish? As soon as the gizbar, the gabbai, gives the money over to the shochani, right then, that second, it goes out of hektish, and then therefore, why do you have to wait for the shochani to use the money? Even when as soon as he receives the money, that enough is going out of hektish. Afilu lahaitzi nami. So that's the question. Must be he's not responsible for einzin. Amar le, no, hu adin avagav delay haitzi. The same halacha applies even if he didn't take it out. The ID, the Gemara gives the answer of ID. This is that means we say something even though it's lav dafka. It doesn't have to be. There's a ratio at the beginning of the brisa and the safe of the brisa, because we're just following the same path as the beginning of the brisa. The ID the tana reisha haitzi Tana seifa nami haitzi. We start off saying haitzi, using spending. So too we say in the seifa spending, even though in the seifa it's lav dafka. It doesn't have to be that he actually spent it. Okay, we're at a new Mishnah. Mem Gimel Amud Aleph. Okay, here's a good time to jump in again. Hashileach yad b'pikadan. Okay, so this is just a brief introduction of the next amud of Gemara, because it's a little confusing. You have over here, somebody gave there's a mafkid. He has a barrel of wine. Let's say a barrel of wine. Well, let's do two examples. There's a barrel of wine, and there's that's one example we're going to use, or an example of a animal, a sheep that now, but a barrel of wine, when he gave it over to the shimer to watch, we're going to say it was worth 100. Now it can go. Now when he came to get it back, it can sometimes it goes down, sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down to 80, and sometimes it goes up to 120. That's one case of a barrel of wine. When he gave it over to watch, it was 100, and it goes up, and the price goes up and down. Another case that's gonna come up, we're gonna use as an example, is by the sheep. The sheep, he gave it to him when it was in the beginning. It was right after it was sheared. There's no wool, and then and then it grows back eventually, and now it's worth much more. And called gizas is the wool, the shearings, and the vladis, the baby sheep. So when he gave it to him, it was worth much less, because it didn't have in the wool and didn't have a baby inside. But when he came to get it back, it was worth much more. So those are the two cases: either the price, either the inflation, or the gizas. It's called gizas and vladis. Gizas are the wool, and the vladis are the babies that come out. Okay, same with that said, it says the Mishnah. Hashilech yad b'pikadan. So we're gonna talk about the case of the wine first. If Reuven gave Shimon a barrel of wine to watch, and it was worth 100 when he gave it to him, and now the Shimon drank it up, or he damaged it, or he took it and he broke it on purpose. B'shamai ayrim yilke b'chaser v'yeser. He's responsible b'chaser if it goes down, or yeser. For example, what's chaser? Chaser is if he gave it to him and it was worth 100, and now went down to 80. Now he has to pay 100. Yeser, if it went up, he has to pay 120. All sides, the one who's shliach yad, he's responsible in all ends. Basil Imrim Kishase Tza. Basil says like the time that he spent it, which the Gemara is going to explain, because Rashi says wait for the Gemara. Rabbi Kiva Imrim Kishase Tvi. Rabbi Kiva says when he brings him to Bezdin. That's how we measure it. Says the Gemara, Amar Rabba. Rabba said over halacha, independent of the Mishnah. Hi man, the gazal chavisa the chamer mechavrei. Because the Mishnah is talking about a shomer, the Rabba is talking about a gazlan, a robber. A robber stole a chavisa de chamer mechavrei, a barrel of wine from his friend. Meikara shav yazuza. When he stole it, it was worth 1 zuz. Let's say 100. Hashta shav yarba. Now it's worth 4. It's worth 400. Tavre shasye. If he broke it down with that, he broke it, took a hammer and broke it. Oy shasye, or he drank it all up. Mishalem arba. He's responsible to pay 4. Like we're going to see in a second why. Itmar memela. If it broke by itself, Mishalem zuza. He pays back 1 zuz according to the it's called shas akzela, according to how much it was worth when he stole it. My taima. What's the reason? What's the difference? Kivan di isa hadra lamara be'ene. Oops, I think I skipped a line. Okay, my time. Why is the Gemara going back on when he broke by itself? He pays based on he pays 100 according
so the
to.
barrel's in the possession of the thief, and it breaks when it's in his possession. And the question is whether or not he carries extra responsibility, whether it's an act of God, so to speak, that it would have broken anywhere.
No. It started when the thief just stole the barrel. Right. It was worth 100.
Right.
Then it was in his possession. The market went up. It's worth 400.
Right.
And now, if it broke by itself,
yeah,
he's responsible. Pay 100.
what it was when he stole it.
What it was when he stole it, exactly.
Well, all right, but it's like, I could say, if he hadn't stolen it at all, it might not have broken. It might have. Well, I guess we'll get to it more later.
Okay, well, the Gemara is actually going to go into your question, and we're going to see. The Gemara is going to expand on this. My timer, Kivan di Isa, right here. What's the reason? Why is he only paying one? Why is he only paying 100? Kivan di Isa hadra lamar be'ena, because when a gazlan, when he steals something, he doesn't become his. It really belongs to the owner until he makes a shina, like we had the whole Bava Kamma about. But as long as it's still around, nothing happened to it. It's in the possession of the owner. Okay. So Gemara is going to explain the other case, why he pays 4. So if when he drinks it or he breaks it, that's when it's really a new ma'aseh gzeila. It's a really new action of stealing, because until now it was really like a in between. On the one hand, the gazlan, it's in the thief's possession. On the other hand, it never left the possession of the owner. So now when he's breaking it or drinking it, now he's really finishing up the action of stealing. So now we can be mechayiv him. He's responsible for what he did right now, and now it's worth 4. The Tanan kol hagazlanim mishalmin kishas agzela. A gazlan, a thief, pays when he steals it, and now there's really step 1 and step 2. When he does step 2, when he breaks it, he's doing step 2. That's really a kishas agzela. It's a time of stealing, and he pays based on that. Itmar memela, if it broke by itself, so then he's only really a thief, a step 1 thief. A step 1 thief, he's responsible for what he did when he did it. Itmar memela mishalm zuza my taima hasha. Now when it broke, he didn't do anything. Amai kamachayv. What's his responsibility? What are you mechayiv him for? Ahishaita de gazla, for what you're mechayiv him for when he stole it. Ahishaita zuza deshavya. Okay, so there's two stages of stealing. Stage 1, when you take it out of the possession, when you steal it from the owner's house, and step 2 is when you actually go and break it or drink it. Over here, you only have stage 1, and stage 1 is worth 100, so he pays 100. That is Rabba's halacha. A difference between when you steal it, when it's worth 100, when you steal it, it's worth 100, and it goes up to 400. Says Rabba, there's a difference. There's a difference. What you do, if you break it, you pay 4. You pay 400. If you breaks by itself, you pay 1. Okay, says the Gemara. Tanan, the Mishnah. We're going back to our Mishnah. Bisila says in our Mishnah, it's a similar case. The only difference was its starting point was a shemer. Shemer decides to steal it and to drink it up. So the Mishnah says kishas eitzah as when he spent it. My kishas eitzah. Well, Beisil says kishas eitzah. What does it mean when he spent it? Ilam kishas eitzah mina ilam, when he spent it, when he took it out of the world. Uvamai. When really my means what? But over here, which case? Ibachaser, if it went down, it was worth 100, now it went down to 80. That's the case in our Mishnah. When he stole the barrel, the barrel was worth 100 and went down to 80, or it can go up. Ibachaser, if it went down, and you're saying that he only pays 80, mi ikalaman da amar. Is there anybody that holds that a gazlan, a thief, pays less? Right? When it went down to 80, you're going to say he only pays 80. But nan kol gazlan mishalman kishas agzela. A gazlan is responsible to pay the value of when he stole it. And everybody agrees that he doesn't pay less. Vibi yeser, and if it means when it went up, and you say he has to pay 120, hainu beishamai. That's beishamai's shita. So what's going on? Okay, the top of we just turned the page to Mem Gimel and Beis. El pshita must be when it says kishat eitzah, it means kishat eitzah mi beis bailim. It means you pay based on the value of when he stole it for the stage 1. And so it comes out, Beisil is the one that says that you pay based on the stage 1, and that really doesn't work with Rabbah, because Rabbah said that you pay based on stage 2. Lema Rabbah to Amar Beishamai. So the question is that Rabbah, it would seem like he's saying like Beishamai. and we don't want Rabbah to say like Beis Shammai because we don't, the halacha doesn't follow Beis Shammai. Okay, so that's the question. Amar lecha Rabbah will tell you. Now we're saying the answer is the Gemara. Rabbah will tell you the yeser kuli amalei pligi. No, the machlekes is not in yeser when it goes up if he has to pay back the higher value. Ki pligi b'chaser. The machlekes is when it went down. The machlekes is if he has to pay the original value, or he can even pay the lesser value. Okay, what's the machlekes? Beis Shammai savri shlichas yad eina tzricha chisaron. Okay, shlichas yad is the same idea as a gazlan. Really, originally it was it was given to him to watch. Then he picked it up and he stole it, and then that's stage 1. And stage 2 is when he broke it or he drank it up. Beis Shammai savri shlichas yad eina tzricha chisaron. That when a shlichas yad, a shomer, shlichas yad, it doesn't have to actually spend it. The chi chaser b'shusa, and as soon as he's shlichas yad, it becomes in the rishus of the possession of the shomer who is shlichas yad. The chi chaser b'shusa didei chaser, and when it went down in the possession of the shomer. But b'sila savri b'shlichas yad tzricha chisaron. Until he actually makes a chisaron, until he actually spends it, nothing happened, and therefore it was the whole time when the value went down, it was still in the possession of the owner, and therefore he's not responsible even if it went down. He only has to pay back according to the lower value. It's a special halacha in the shomer, so that's why it's different. That's why it's different than before. Okay. Practical the Gemara continues the Gemara. The Gemara asks, Rava taught us that shlichas yad ain't tzricha chisaron. That's a halacha. A shomer doesn't have to spend it to leave the possession of the owner. Lema Rava the Amar ki Beis Shammai. According to this answer, Rava would fit in with Beis Shammai, and that doesn't work because Beis Shammai, we don't follow Beis Shammai's halacha. That's halacha. Okay, says the Gemara, new answer. Ella, rather, he's using the barrel as a step ladder to go get the birds which are from the bird nest, which he can't, otherwise he wouldn't be able to reach. And he's not actually being shleich yad. He's just using a shel shlemidas. He's using something without the permission of the owner. B'shel shlemidas kamiflagi. B'shamay savri the shel shlemidas gazlan have. Somebody who's a shayl, who borrows without permission, he's a gazlan. We treat him like a gazlan. And when it went down, he's a gazlan, and he's responsible. He has to pay the higher value. If it went down, he's responsible to pay based on the original value. Savri, no, shayl shalamidas shayl have. Someone who borrows without permission, he's like a shayl, not a gazlan. He's just responsible for everything, but not not like a gazlan, right? And when the value went down, it's in the owner, still in the owner's possession, and the owner gets the loss. So Gemara asks, savri I'm sorry, it's the owner gets the loss. Ella hadamar Rava, practical Gemara. If you're telling me that the machlekes, if a borrower, someone borrows without permission, if he's a gazlan or he's like a shayal, we have Rava that says shayal shalamidas l'Rabbanan. Rava's going on the Mishnah in Bava Basra, where you have a machlekes, the Chachamim and Rabbi Yehuda, which we're not going to go into now. But Rava said that the Rabbanan shita is that shayal shalamidas is a gazlan. Lema Rava Damar Beis Shammai will come out that Rava says like Beis Shammai. You can't tell me that machlekes over here is a machlekes if he's a gazlan or he's a shayal, because Rava said he's like a gazlan, and that would fit with Beis Shammai. So it must be we need a new answer for Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. Ella, rather, haka b'shvach shel gzela kamiflagi. Says the Gemara, we're going back to the case we said before, that I started off with the sheep. We're not talking about a barrel of wine. We're talking about a sheep. The sheep that can go up in value because of the gizas, because of the wool, and because of the baby animals. Ella haka b'shvach shel gzela kamiflagi. Shvach is the gain, the natural gain from the that happens to the gzela, the stolen item. Who gets that? Who gets that lot? Who gets that gain? And who gets that loss? Beishamai Savri Shvach Gzela the Nigzal Have. The gain is to the owner, the Nigzal, the one who it was stolen from, and that's why whatever happened, even if it went up and if it got wool, the wool belongs to the owner. If when he stole it, it had wool, and then all of a sudden lost its wool, he took it off. He took it off. He has to pay back the original value. Doesn't everything the owner gets it has the gain. Beisil Savri Shvach Zela de Gazan Have. No, Beisil argues and says the gain belongs to the Gazan, to the thief. Plugda Dahani Tanai, and this machlekes is the same a machlekes is the same machlekes as we have a different machlekes. The Tanya in Bava Kamma. The Tanya Hagaydol Sarachal. Somebody steals a sheep. Gaz is of a yalda, and after a couple of months it had wool and he cut it off. The yalda and it had a child, had a baby sheep. Mishalem Aisav Eskizei Ves Ladesea. The Gazan has to pay back not just the sheep, right? Because really he stole the sheep, he didn't steal the wool. He has to pay back everything. Says Rabbi Meir, he has to pay back everything. The Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yehuda, says Rabbi Yehuda, Zela Chayzeres Beina. Says Rabbi Yehuda, no, he stole a sheep, an empty sheep, no wool, no baby sheep. He just pays back. He just pays back what he stole. Machlekes is who has the gain, and the same machlekes is over here. Beishamai and Beisilo. Beishamai says the owner has the gain, and Beisilo says the thief has the gain. Dekanami, it would seem like this as well. The Katani Beishamai Ayrim Yilka b'chaser v'yeser. Beishamai uses the words the chaser v'yeser. Chaser means missing, and yeser means added. If it would be like we thought in the beginning, there would be a barrel of wine going up and down, then it would say something else. Yukra v'zula, going up in value and down in value. Chaser means it sounds like something an addition or something was missing. And so it would sound like this is a machlekes. Beisil says like the time of the haitzah shmamina. That's the machlekes. Okay, 2 dots. Rabbi Kiva Aimer kishas atfir. Rabbi Kiva argues and says he pays based on when he brought him to Bezdin. Amar Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel, because Amar Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel halacha Rabbi Kiva. The halacha follows Rabbi Kiva. Umayde Rabbi Kiva agrees b'makam sheyesh edim. When there is edim that they saw how much it was worth when he stole it. Yeah. So the case was like this. The case was that when it went down, and so when he stole it when it was full of wool. Then it went down. Okay, the Gazan says, look, he brings it to Bezdin, and the Bezdin brings and says, pay. The court says, pay, and he says, I'm paying. I only want to pay based on now when there's no wool. But the owner says, 1 second, you stole it. It was full of wool. Pay me back when you stole it. Okay, so Rabbi Kiva says because there's no way to prove it, so then he pays back only the way it is now without the wool. But if there's edim, if there's witnesses that they saw that there was wool when he stole it, so he has no excuse. He can't say because there's edim, there's witnesses. My timer, because he learns it from the pasuk. The Amar Kral la'asher hu la yitnenu b'yem hashmasei. When the day of his bad action. The kivan dika edim. So if there's no edim, so then his bad action is when Bezdin, when the court sees and makes him responsible. The kivan dika edim, but if there's witnesses, then his bad action is already back then, because the witnesses are telling us that what happened. From when Amar le Rav Aishia the Rav Yehuda, says Rav Aishia to Rav Yehuda, who said over this saying, Rabbi Ata Aimer Kain. He was asking Rabbi, like my rabbi, you're saying like this? Haki Amar Rav Asi means he's really arguing in a respectful way. Haki Amar Rav Asi Amar Rabbi Yechanan. Rav Asi said different than you. Rabbi Kiva argued and said, even if when there's witnesses that he stole it and it was worth more. My timer made the Amar Kral Asher Hulai Yitnano B'Yem Ashmasai. Ubeidino the Kamachai Ashma. Rabbi Kiva says Rabbi Yechanan said different, that even if there's witnesses, no, the it goes based on when the court, when Beis Din is mechayiv him, makes him responsible. That's how you base the how much he should pay. And then the Gemara brings now how we the Gemara is just going to finish with the halacha how we finalize with the halacha and regarding this machlekes. Amalei Rab Zera Rab Abba Bar Papa. Rab Zera said over to Rab Abba Bar Papa ki azlis. So they were living in Bavel in Iraq, and Rab Abba Bar Papa was making a trip going to visit Eretz Yisrael. So he said ki azlis lahasam, when you're going to visit Eretz Yisrael, akif asoma ditzur. Instead of going the fastest route, make a little detour and go around the hills of Tzur. It's called Suam. Sounds like a ladder because it was an incline. Because Rabbi Yaakov Bar Idi, he lived there. So make a little detour and go over to him. And ask him the Shaila halacha. Because he was a big Talmud of Rabbi Yechanan, and Rabbi Zera wanted to hear in his name what the halacha was, what Rabbi Yechanan said. Ask him what the halacha is in the name of Rabbi Yechanan. Do we pass him like Rabbi Akiva? Is halacha or not like Rabbi Akiva? Amar Lei, so he told him, okay, fine. So he went. Rabbi Abba Bar Papa went, and he went to Rabbi Yaakov Bar Idi. And Rabbi Yaakov Bar Idi told him, Amar Lei, Haki Amar Rabbi Yechanan, halacha Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva taught. Rabbi Yechanan said over the halacha is like Rabbi Akiva, le'olam, forever. So it's an interesting way of saying something. The halacha follows Rabbi Akiva forever. My la'olam. So says the Gemara, what's la'olam? What does it mean forever? Answers the Gemara, Amar Rav Ashi, Shalai Tamer, that you shouldn't say, Hani mili hechadalaka edim. When he says forever, means not just when there's no edim, aval hechadik edim lai. Even when there's edim, the halacha follows Rabbi Akiva. He only pays when he's brought to Beis Din, when he's brought to court. The inami, the Gemara offers another suggestion for when we say halacha like Rabbi Akiva forever. What does it mean forever? The hadra ledochta ve'itbra. When he took the pikaden, the sheep, and he put it in its place, and then something happened to it by itself. So he started off as a shayel shalemidas, or whatever shayel, and then he put it back without telling the owner. Now brings us to the discussion. When someone borrows something, does he have to tell the owner when he puts it back? Right? So then, Lafuki, that's Rabbi Shmuel. Lafuki, Rabbi Shmuel, the Amr Loy Bein Das Bailam. Rabbi Shmuel is the one that said you don't need the owner's knowledge. Kamash Malan, where Rabbi Yechanan is teaching us, no, the Bein Das Bailam, you need to tell the owner that I put it back, and then otherwise, he's considered he's responsible. Rava Amar, Rava said no, halacha like Beis Hillel, halacha doesn't follow Rabbi Akiva, the halacha follows like Beis Hillel, and we're going to stop here by the Mishnah. Thank you everyone for listening.